95.5 KLOS. It's a Purple tribute. It was 5 years ago today we lost Prince. So I spoke with Matt Pinfield earlier. He knew Prince. He knows everyone. You probably know Matt Pinfield, MTV. He also has his new show here on KLOS. KLOS New and Approved every Sunday night, 8 to 10. You definitely have to check that out. But this was our call earlier today. I just thought I'd re-air it if you missed it. Great stories here.
Hey, Marci, it's Matt. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Matt, I'm so glad you could check in today. I mean, I've heard from so many listeners leading up to today. A lot of people are thinking about Prince today. It's been 5 years, and it feels like it's been a lot longer than that to me.
Marci, the day that Prince died, I had started a new radio show in San Francisco on a station that was kind of a sister station of KLOS 5 years ago.
Right.
And it was my first day. I was doing mornings. I got off the air. I was about to get off the air, and we found out Prince had died. So the program director said, Matt, I know you've had some dealings with Prince. You're a fan, right? Why don't you stay on the air for another 4 or 5 hours? And that's what I did. You know, and because I was really great friends with Des Dickerson, who was the guitarist, who you see him in Purple Rain, but he played with Prince all the way through 1999.
Yeah.
And then he left because he didn't really want to tour, but they stayed best friends. They were best friends straight to the end. Mm-hmm. I had texted him that morning and said, look, I know it's a tough day, but do you think you would go on the air with me for about a half an hour? And he did. And he told great Prince stories.
Very cool. Yeah, I bet he did.
But my dealings with Prince, Marci, were really interesting. Like, he would come to MTV when I was in the MTV music department.
Yeah.
And, you know, if it was another artist, they might, you know, have you play their music for you. If it's, you know, Bruce Springsteen or Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, you know, and then they play their music, and then they come in and say hi to everybody.
Right, yeah.
Prince was very unique. What Prince did was he rented this movie theater that is under the MTV building on Broadway. And literally, we went in there, and he sat in the dark behind us.
Oh, my gosh.
When he played this entire album for us. He just wanted to look at our backs. It was the funniest thing in the world. It was so crazy.
Yeah, it totally sounds like something he would do, though.
You know, and I spoke to him about it later, you know, but I'll tell you about that in a second.
Yeah, I mean, Prince was definitely one of a kind, very unique, very eccentric.
Yeah, he was. And, you know, he was fantastic. I mean, you know, let's face it, that Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performance where he's playing with all those incredible rock musicians, and he's doing While My Guitar Gently Weeps, the Beatles track.
Yeah.
With and he just steals the show. He's incredible.
Yeah, and his guitar playing, what an amazing guitar player. He never got enough credit.
No, absolutely. He was an incredible musician.
So amazing.
One of the other really funny things that happened with Prince, which shows you just how eccentric he is, is, and this will probably flip people out because if I tell you this story, you might remember MTV Basement Tapes, but years later in the 90s, they were doing a thing a whole Saturday afternoon. I mean, let alone now they don't even play videos really, but back then, on a Saturday afternoon, they were doing 6 hours of independent videos that people had sent in, or bands. I know it sounds like it's in another galaxy, but it was absolutely true. And I was hosting this, and Prince was supposed to co-host it with me. So I flew all the way to Minneapolis to Paisley Park.
Yeah. And
he got on the phone with my producer, and then he bailed at the last minute. And what he did was he said, look, I love Matt. This was his exact words because I could hear him through the phone. He goes, I love Matt, and Matt knows his music, but I don't like the name of the show. And because it was called Flying Indie Under the Radar. And she goes, well, we'll change the name. Well, you got to do it. And he goes, no, I don't. He goes, tell Matt to meet me here tomorrow. I'll send a car. And he literally sent me a car, and I went and had a steak dinner with him. Prince.
Oh,
and
my God.
I was there for 24 hours in Minneapolis, steak dinner, back to New York.
But he wouldn't do the show because he didn't like the name.
Well, the real reason that what I thought the reason was, is he agreed to do it when he was still really angry at Warner Brothers during that whole emancipation thing where he had the symbol and he wrote slave on his face.
Yeah.
I think at that moment he loved the idea of doing this thing for independent music, but he had just signed a big deal with Clive Davis. So I think he felt that it would have been insulting to Clive.
Yeah.
Like he really had kind of changed his tune at that moment.
Yeah.
So that's why he bailed. But it was nice to have a steak lunch on Prince.
Yeah, you sat down with Prince and had a steak lunch or dinner. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, he loves steaks. That's his thing. There was always steaks Always going out for steaks. That's the whole word that a lot of people probably don't know.
Yeah. So, Matt, when you finally had a chance to ask him about the dark theater and why he wanted everybody's back to him, what did he say?
His only thing that he said to me about that, I said, "Oh, you were behind us." I go, that was, it was interesting. I thought you want to see people's expressions. He goes,
right.
"Oh, I can tell how they reacted. I can tell they reacted." Oh, it's been pretty fun. I mean, he liked to test people, but he was, in my contact with him, he was always super cool to me.
Yeah.
And I was a fan. I thought Purple Rain was a genius record. And,
yes.
The reason why it's such a perfect album for him is because he was so busy shooting the movie that he didn't have time to overthink it.
Yeah.
So he just took the best stuff that he could get together in that period of time and made a perfect album of those 9 songs.
Oh, just the perfect album. You're so right. Yeah. And on a perfectionist scale, on a scale from 1 to 10, how much of a perfectionist was he?
Oh, he was a 10.
Yep.
No question about it. But he was so prolific. I mean, he was always writing and creating. That's why there's so much great stuff, and things that keep popping out.
Wish he was still with us. He was gone way too soon, and damn opioids, right?
Yeah, it's a terrible thing. I'm a guy in recovery, obviously. I'm clean and sober, so...
Yep, awesome.
I just am grateful to be alive and well, and a lot of other musicians have made a good decision. And I'm so sad we lost Prince that way. I mean, it's just an incredible, sad story because he left us with so much great music, and, that could happen really to anybody.
Yeah, it could, and I'm so glad you're with us, and with us here at KLOS, Matt. I love having you here. It's so great. I
love you, Marcy. It's the best.
Thanks.
It's so great to be at the station.
Yeah, it's always so good to see you. And Prince, he's also got, he wrote and recorded the album Welcome to America. He did that before his 2010 tour. It was never made public until now. It's coming out this year, July 30th, I guess that drops.
Yeah, which I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, me too.
It was crazy that day that I was on the air in San Francisco on KLOS, the sister station. I was actually doing interviews on like MSNBC, and then all the news crews came in from San Francisco, local ABC, Fox, CBS, NBC, and set up in the studio right before I left. I was about to get on a plane to Prague to host a charity thing, literally fly for two days. And they talked about the same story. I told them about the steak lunch, steak dinner thing.
Yeah. It's such a great story.
How great he was.
Oh my gosh.
He was amazing.
You got the best stories, Matt. So glad you could check in with me today. Let's go toast Prince over a steak dinner.
Let's do it.
All right.
Anytime you're ready, Marcy.
Done.
All right, love you, Marcy.
Right on.
Thank you.
Love you too, Matt. Thanks for checking in.
All right. Thank you so much, Marcy.